There are hundreds of football teams in the land, but only one team wins the Super Bowl. There are hundreds of baseball teams, but only one team wins the World Series. There are dozens of automobiles, but only one that's number one throughout the world, Chevrolet. The team that engineers Chevrolet is number one. The cars and trucks they design have greater public acceptance than any others in the world. The team that builds Chevrolet is number one. Every year they build more cars and trucks than anybody else anywhere. The team that sells Chevrolets is also number one. For every year, they sell more manufactured goods and services than any other sales team in existence. Number one team.
Dick, we're in the business to sell cars and make money. We both know that in order to accomplish this, that we must do certain things. I have a self-evaluation form here that I'd like for you to look over and fill out for me. It covers 6 areas, such as accomplishing objectives, new car sales, holding grosses, customer contact, approach, qualifying, closing ratios, planning, handling floor time, prospecting, knowledge, Chevrolet product knowledge, finance, insurance, warranty, morale, such as working relationships with other salesmen, and communication, management reporting systems. On the back, I'd like for you to list out the areas in which you would like to improve.
Don, how do you guide the prospect to the particular car he needs?
Well, as soon as I can establish what type of a vehicle he wants, we incorporate several things in the dealership to more or less help him make up his mind and show him all the options that are available to help tailor this vehicle to him, to custom tailor it.
So a lot depends on your knowledge of the line, of course.
Oh, yes. I'd say that any professional in car selling today is going to have to know his entire lineup from top to bottom. He should have a working knowledge of every piece of equipment that is available to him, and every option that goes on that equipment, so that he can, again, custom tailor it to that individual's needs and desires.
In your mind, what is the essence of a real pro?
Well, it's an incorporation of all the things that we've talked about. Knowing your product, and a professional salesman has to do this. He has to be interested. He has to be sincerely interested, I should say it that way, in his prospect. He has to be concerned about what they want, and he has to be knowledgeable enough to tailor a vehicle to meet it. The time he spends with them has to be cordial. He has to appear businesslike. A professional should have some direction. He, of course, has to know where he's going at all times. He has to be somewhat smooth and somewhat polished, but he also has to be tremendously flexible. No two people that come through the front door are going to be exactly alike, and the vehicles that they look for are going to be just as different as they are.
Service supremacy calls for action by every department in the dealership, by every member of every department. And that, of course, includes you, all working together to achieve total customer satisfaction. But just what is service supremacy? Well, for one thing, it's a smooth traffic flow pattern in the service department. It's giving a customer a friendly welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's making the customer feel welcome with an inviting lounge and clean, modern restrooms. It's department heads getting together to discuss mutual problems and ways to help or work more closely with each other. In a word, it's working to achieve a closer interdepartmental relationship. Service supremacy is also taking prompt action on any customer complaint. It's clean, conspicuously located customer signs that give pertinent information and helpful directions. It's making a customer feel he's an important somebody whose business is appreciated and whose total satisfaction is desired. It's doing the service job right the first time. It's taking satisfaction and pride in the fact that you have applied your best skills and knowledge to every job you handle, no matter how simple or complex it is. It's a new paint job in the service department. It's making every customer feel he's getting special attention. In a word, it's your efforts, combined with the efforts of everyone else in the dealership, to make total customer satisfaction a day in and day out reality, a way of life.
More Impala value is its excellent ride and handling. Standard bias-belted tires. The bias belt helps improve tire life, while the design helps hold the tread more firmly on the road, adding to overall handling. Full coil suspension at all 4 wheels. Computer-selected springs that match the precise weight of the car that you order. A-frame control arms help control Impala's handling. And for your added comfort, rubber cushioned body mounts isolate the body from the frame and result in a smooth, quiet ride. To show what it means to you, let's watch this demonstration. On the top, what it's like riding in an Impala. On the bottom, the beating taken by Impala's full coil suspension. Impala's entire suspension system and body mounts have been retuned to help provide even better ride and handling, and to achieve quieter operation under all road conditions. Impala value is ride and comfort for you and your passengers.
The new catalytic converter permits the engine to be tuned to utilize better available energy in cleaner burning unleaded fuel. No fuel or power is required by the converter, and the unit will probably never need service or replacement in a lifetime of normal driving. If you can control pollution through chemistry, through a converter outside the engine, you free engine design to concentrate on the main job of an engine, and that's to deliver smooth, economical power. The high-energy ignition system permits burning of a leaner fuel mixture. Combustion is more reliable, performance is improved, starting in all kinds of weather is quicker and surer. If you can advance the spark, have it burn sooner so that more heat is converted to energy, you can get better fuel economy and increased performance and smoothness from a standing start. The combination of the catalytic converter and the high-energy ignition makes possible more responsive performance and new ignition timing that contributes to better mileage. The Chevrolet efficiency system
Gulf and Western manufacturing operations have grown from that single starting point to a community of more than 30 companies, and we employ more than 24,000 people. 24,000 people. People who play vital roles in the overall success of Gulf and Western manufacturing. People who play vital roles in the communities in which they live. People like Bob Gearwar, a precision machinist at a Gulf and Western manufacturing facility, representative of our people who are deeply involved in their jobs and deeply involved in serving their communities.
Right now I'm working on a turbine engine blade, and it might be on the next plane that you or I fly in. Making sure the blade is perfect is my responsibility. Before this company came here, you could work in a quarry, or you could work in a garage, or you had to leave town to find work, and these jobs paid the minimum wage. There weren't any good jobs around this area to have.
Bobby, we're going to demonstrate this new air sponge. Have you used these before?
No, I haven't.
Well, I'll let you help me.
I helped form a volunteer rescue squad in my town. We have some brand new equipment that I'm still learning how to use. Everyone in the rescue squad has to take 70 hours first aid training. About a year ago, the woman fell off a bridge here. We could have really used it then. I have a wife and 4 children. We live 30 minutes from the nearest hospital. When I'm not at home, it's my responsibility to make sure that they get help in case of an accident.
You have a problem, employee turnover. For some of you, it's a big problem. You may or may not recognize it. You may even have learned to live with it, and that could be dangerous. When your employees treat the front door of your store like a revolving door, in one day and out the next, it's all but impossible to maintain a stable, productive workforce. And the result? For the store, higher overhead costs, lower profits. For you, valuable time and effort lost recruiting and training people. The store looks bad, and you look bad. Of course, some employee turnover is unavoidable, some even desirable. But what about the people you want to keep? How do you keep them in the fold? Well, there is no simple answer, but one factor plays a decisive role in whether an employee stays or leaves. And we can state it in one word: attitude. But not the employee's attitude, yours. It's the attitude of the store manager or the assistant store manager, the department manager, the head stock clerk, the attitudes of co-workers, which help form his attitude. Put yourself in his shoes. Remember when you first started out? You were eager to go, but had a head full of unanswered questions. And as those questions were answered, you began to form an attitude toward the job and the organization. A new employee, then, is something like an unprogrammed computer. But he's going to be programmed, for better or worse, by the inputs of those for whom and with whom he works. You might say the employee's attitude is a direct reflection of your attitude.
I've never really had anything to do with European quality. My husband was born in Europe, though, and he talks about it quite often, and he says it's much better than Canadian or American qualities.
I say I don't think the quality's as good as it used to be. I don't think things last as long as they used to.
They don't make things as good as they used to. I'd like to buy something that's going to last me for a while.
Well, they've got away from quality with speed. They want production, speed, lots of speed. And they've spoiled their quality.
Well, our problem on quality is the jobs on the line. As you understand, in Oshawa, producing 50 jobs an hour. That's a job just over 1 a minute. An employee hasn't got too much time in which to look at quality. His main job is to get his part of the operation completed. Now, if everything's going right, if his job allocation is correct, you'll get quality.
Well, I do the job that I have to do, and I do it to the best of my ability, and if it's right for the company, and that's it.
In my view of things, that so often we tend to blame the people on the line for our problems in quality. And there are a lot of people in General Motors who don't work on the line that have just as much to do with quality as the actual people on the line do. If we could consistently give the man on the line the proper parts at the proper time, and if those parts were built according to specifications, then I think that 95 or 98% of those people would give us the job that we're asking them for. So often the support departments, like people in purchasing, people in material control, people in engineering, even the people in the zones have a very vital role to play in quality, and it's not only the people on the line that build our quality into our products.
Well,
I feel in the drafting room here that our quality isn't really, we can't see the overall picture of quality here, and it's difficult to maybe describe this to you, but I think from our problems up here, we must make the drawing as perfect as we can without it getting down into quality control or these areas where we can have a lot of problems. And of course, if we have this problem and it doesn't come out right, of course it's very difficult to assemble that on the line. So I think really, from our aspects up here, we have to make a drawing as perfect as we can, and sometimes this is difficult, though. We try our best.
Well, of course, in industrial engineering, we're not actually in the plant and making the product as such, but I feel that we do play an important role in what the end product is when it comes off the line. I like to feel that everybody has a part in it.
We're quite concerned about quality within purchasing because that's where it starts as far as we're concerned. If we don't buy quality parts, there's no way the plant are going to get quality parts. I'd say it's the number one consideration in purchasing.
I think as far as quality in here goes, where we contribute is we make a mistake in here, it contributes to the dollar cost of the vehicle.
When you're talking to the suppliers on bringing in your material, a lot of times you run into problems on well, maybe the material just isn't up to par, and if they can get away with it, they'll go ahead and ship it, and things like this.
The parts I'm dealing with, I'm requesting good quality, and I'm getting good quality. If I weren't getting good quality, I'd change my buyer source.
We have a very good record with our engines and quality. We're number one as far as Chevrolet is concerned. We have a very good record in our foundry. We've got the best record, I guess, in North America in your rear axles, but there still could be more improvement. We could have more improvement. Do you think communications would help? How often is the guy that's putting the nut on find out what happens to it afterwards? How far down the line does he see it? When would he ever see it?
I think that's a problem we have in the foundry. You get a man that has to chip pins off a casting, but he doesn't know why, and I think he'd do a better job and he wouldn't miss as many if he knew why that pin was coming on.
I think that if people knew more to do more, and that they're denied the full implication of themselves in the job because they don't know any better. What I mean is that they don't know the relationship of what they're doing to the end product, and if they knew this and they knew the transmission in a meaningful way, perhaps the way I know it, and they would look upon this thing as perhaps what I call a 150-pound Swiss watch, and when you're tampering with that, you better be careful.
Sure, you hear parts don't fit, and he's having a hell of a job today because this won't go together properly. And this happens, but how does a person way out and back or beyond somewhere know that the little bracket he's making has got to fit into this huge, great vehicle that we're building at the plant, And if he misses it, if he doesn't build that part correctly, it's going to affect his job.
I think generally management sacrifices quality for trying to get too much maximum work from one man. I think quality is tied to doing a job in the right time, at a good pace.
Working on a line, you got to pretty well rely on the guy in front of you to do your job. If you don't do his job, you can't do your job.
It's a funny thing about people, though. We build something, perhaps we're not that fussy about putting our top quality into it. By the same token, we're the first ones to holler if we go out and buy something that somebody else made and didn't put top quality into it.
If you're going to put out poor quality, the car's not going to sell, and they'll buy another car. Some other customer.
It's very important. It may be a very small item in our plant that seems very significant to us, but when it gets to the customer and gets built into the car, it could be a very large item to that customer, and it could influence the buying and selling of another car.
It's possible for a person who buys a car to be completely satisfied with it, but if only one small item is defective, that's enough to destroy customer confidence. At the moment, we have work, but if quality deteriorates at Sainte-Thérèse, we may lose vehicle production. So we have to work hard on the assembly line. Every worker must do his best and really care.
Que chaque employé soit à l'aise sur sa job, faut qu'il fasse le meilleur de lui-même dans son ouvrage.
Without quality, you don't have customers. Without customers, you don't have a job. And if you want your job, you're going to have to build a little quality and show a little more interest in your job.
I think you have to be reminded of this quite frequently because I know sewing for years, you think, well, I can just do it so well.
You begin to take it
you get lax.
You take it for granted that you're doing a good job, and really your mind is somewhere else, and you're not doing your best.
Right. And another thing, sometimes you think that your job is not going to show in the car, and it really does. Really does show. Yeah.
Well, in the fab plant, I think we try to relate to quality as, well, our customers are mainly the assembly plants. So we try to relate quality as to number of complaints we get back from our customers in the assembly plants.
Well, I think the question, if you're working on the line or on any job, is the job that you're doing when it's completed. Would you be happy with that job if it was your car?
I think most people try to put quality out. They take pride in their work and they like to have a finished product that they themselves or the consumers are going to receive.
J'aime ça, moi, en tant que superviseur, me placer.
As a supervisor, I like to put myself in the customer's shoes, and when we build a car, I like to have my men think as I do.
La même idée, la même pensée.
We don't work only for General Motors, but also for the customer, who invests $5,000 or $6,000.
C'est un investissement assez considérable.
He makes a large investment, and he has the right to own a quality product.
D'acheter un produit de qualité, pas un morceau qui va lui tomber dans les mains.
It's got to last for a long, long time. The truck is a utility vehicle, and the man who owns that truck in many cases is running it to make a dollar. If the truck isn't operating, he's not only without the use of his vehicle, he's without his income. So he gets pretty irritated if it doesn't operate.
I'm a family man myself, and I have a home and a car. Well, number one's your home. Number two is a car, and it's a necessity too, just like a home. But if this car hasn't got what the salesman tells us and isn't up to what we feel is standard at, you're putting out a lot of money for a car too. This is things I want. I've had one in 74, got another in 75, and I can name several things that I can't get right on it.
How can you relax when you've been waiting an hour and a half to find out what's wrong with your car?
3 different occasions, 2 days each time, and this is the 4th time I'm in. I was told to come in today to see if certain parts had been delivered from parts and service down in GM, and they're not here.
We got a lot of minor problems. Just either it's not aligned properly or it's a bit loose, rattles and squeaks, this kind of thing. On the whole, it's pretty good.
It's hard to say what's factory, and what isn't. Some of this man's problems may be our problem. Like he was in, he had some repairs done. If somebody did them sloppily, we've got a problem.
Well, I think that is really what we're looking for. Why we need quality is for the customer. We're very interested all the time in exactly what the customer's requirements are. Everybody should be interested in quality in that regard. The sale of our vehicles is entirely dependent upon the quality.
If you don't keep the customer happy when he comes in the front door and sell him a car and look after him after you've sold him a car, then he isn't going to come back in the front door again.
I intended to get a car for maybe a couple of $1,000 tonight and bought a new one. I think this one we got today should last for a few years, a good many years. Because I don't think I'll be able to afford to buy another one again.
A lot of hidden things that the average consumer can't see in a product. That if we don't have that built-in quality, some welds, some hidden welds, prime underpaint, sort of thing, metal finish. These things are poor. Maybe the consumer can't see them for 6 months, maybe a year.
There's a lot of things that we do in the plant that the consumer would never know. He doesn't have the problems. It's because we're going to this great detail of work to ensure that he's getting a good product.
En tant que qualité, je trouve qu'on a une bonne qualité.
We have good quality.
Au point de vue de notre rapport à nous autres, les employés qui travaillent là, on est plus difficile que le client.
As workers, we're more exacting than the customer because the customer will notice the small details less than we do.
On remarque plus, en fait.
It embarrasses me somewhat. I'm barreling down the road somewhere and I see a car in trouble and I'm hurriedly trying to find out if it's a GM. And if it's a new GM, I start to get concerned. I'm almost tempted to stay behind him to see if he gets started or not, or get out and be an advisor to him. But the whole situation is that I think that anyone that's caught up in the act of making something, they identify with it in a particularly strong way, and they have an anxiety and a concern to the people that it falls in their hand.
I know in my own mind that the money that people pay for cars, they should get what they're paying for, And personally myself, I'm not trying to story you, but I try to do a good job. I do.
I suppose all I can say is that my job is such, I do it to the best of my ability.
For my part, when I build a car, I know someone will use it. As far as I'm concerned, if I have a job to do, I do it 100%, not 50%. Not only for the quality, but also for the safety of the people who will use it.
Most people take pride, I think, in their jobs, and they like to have a finished product that is going to be able to go out to the consumer because they themselves are the consumers.
We demand the best of products, and I think we're getting the best of products.